Trav, appreciate you coming down, my man.
Bro, it's a pleasure,
Appreciate you coming down.
It's
First guest, you know, as well.
Fam, I'm in the den, bro.
You're in the den. You're in the Matrix.
Yeah, bro.
You're in the Matrix.
Mr. Anderson.
Indeed. Have you seen that film yet?
Nah, I haven't.
Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
Is it that bad?
I can't, you know what it is? For me, I grew up on the Matrixes.
Yeah,
So
same.
for me, like, especially the first Matrix, I was like, this is incredible.
Iconic.
Like, this is iconic. The second one was very good. The third one wasn't great. But I thought, okay, they've waited 20 years. Feed me. Give me some stuff.
It's the gap, you know?
The gap's too long.
Because we've grown up, and you know when rose tint glasses hit the memories,
Yeah.
it's now tied to our childhood.
Yeah.
You can't come back as an adult. I've seen too much. I'm a different person. You can't enjoy it the way you enjoyed it.
And especially, they didn't have Morpheus. They didn't have Agent Smith. So I'm like, what's the point in this? Like, as good as Keanu is in Carry-On Moss or whatever, but if you don't have the main, not the main two, because Neo's still the number one.
Did it make you feel different about the legacy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so bad. I'm not joking. I had to go back home and watch the first Matrix just to kind of get rid of what I just saw in the cinema. It was that bad, and it cost a lot as well. Cinema ain't cheap anymore either, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not a cheap exercise.
But you know what? I got pissed off, right? So basically, I took my family to see Encanto in the cinema.
Yeah.
Bruv, it's on Disney Plus. Bruv, we went home and no word of a lie. Next day, everybody is watching it in the living room.
How much is cinema for a family? That must like £100 out in it.
Bro, it was ridiculous.
Popcorn,
because it's
ice cream.
It's like £30 something for the family ticket.
Yeah.
And you got another £35 for the snacks and that. And I'm like, I'm down £70 for something that I was already paying for and have in my house.
It's a joke, innit? There's too much going on. It's weird. I feel like a lot of people, Trav, would know you, obviously because of boxing, right? Especially people that are watching this channel right now because of Undefeated Podcast, Monday Night Smoke, which is crazy, right? It's crazy. Monday Night Smoke's crazy. I don't think a lot of people would know about the comedy side, though. I didn't. I've known you about a year now, and I had no idea about the comedy side. Mm-hmm. You're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, bro.
Which, for me, is... I'm trying to think of the scariest things I could possibly do. I think standing up in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people and trying to make them laugh, no way, I'm not doing it.
It's funny, like, you know what? It's funny for me, this chapter of boxing content, where I have this, like, a pocket of fans and people who know me, and they're just like, oh, yeah, Undefeated Pod.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole bunch of people over there that's like, no, he's a stand-up comic. And there's
he's playing two different roles.
Do you know what I mean? It's nuts. Like, stand-up comedy is tough, but it feels normal to me at this point.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I get on stage and I'm so comfortable. Like, I'm more uncomfortable in one-on-one dialogues than I am on stage. I'm not even joking. Because
like, did you practice your routines before getting on stage? I mean, do you like have an opportunity to kind of, I don't know, play them out to like 4 or 5 friends? Like, guys, what do you think of this joke? What do you think of that joke?
For a big show, I would do that. Like, my girlfriend gets fiance.
Yeah,
I can't. It's
kind
disrespectful.
What are you doing?
So she'll hear like the full show. Yeah. Like, I'll do a performance there in the living room. Do you know what I mean? Or my mum. And it's always tough because one person, they know you, they know the humor, they might have even heard that particular joke before, so they might not laugh, but they're going, this is gonna work. Do you know what I mean? So it's different. But when it's like in front of a crowd, it's nuts because it's a one-way convo, and all of these people become one person.
Jeez.
Where it's like they laugh together.
Really?
They boo or they jeer at something you said, and they react together. So it's a one-on-one, but you don't use words, you just use your sounds. So it's easy.
I watched like the Joe Rogan podcast, like, obviously stand-up comedian himself, and he talks about going to places and nothing. Like doing a joke that he thought, okay, this is going to be the one, and no reaction at all. Like, has that happened to you?
It's happened, bro. Yeah, because do you know what it is? For me, I'm not like a conventional, like, I don't even know how to describe it. So my writing process is a little different. If I'm going to do like a 20-minute performance in a comedy club, I won't necessarily plan that. I have an idea of things I want to talk about, and I'll find it. Do you know what I mean? I can trust my ability to find a punch. You know what I mean? I've got a vague idea of how this joke is going to go. Once I start, I'll find the meat and bones. But on a big show, I would never like gamble. But when you're testing out material, you're just throwing it out there, bro, you literally are rolling the dice. Because that little joke in your head, you think, nah, that's sick. That's going to bang. You say it, the crowd's just like, nah. But sometimes you say it, and even though it doesn't work, you know what needs to happen for this joke to work.
Okay, I get you.
So it's like, I know it didn't work now, but this is going to be fire somewhere else.
Okay.
So it's a weird type of journey when you hear that.
How do you go through thinking something's going to be like, okay, this joke's going to get them? It falls flat, but you still got 20 minutes of the show left. How do you get onto the next one? You just got to keep going.
You just got to keep going. Like, my stubbornness pushes me through that. Do you know what I mean? I've had times where it hasn't prevailed and ended well. Like, I've got through that one, the next one was dead, next one was dead. And you get to the end, it's like, right, I'm really not going to turn this one around. And you just have to just lick your wounds, come back again, and go again. But it's like, that's the drug that keeps us going. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll go home after a bad gig, especially when I was younger. I used to be pissed. I'd be emotional. Like, it was like, raw. Like, how am I supposed to call myself a comedian down the line and this is happening? But you just keep going. And all those experiences, they do amount to you be getting better, and you get to read earlier. Sometimes I'll start a joke and feel the vibe change. And I'm like, nah, this ain't the one. And I'm out and we're on. Yeah.
Yeah?
It's instinctual.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're going there. This is live in front of people, and you can, this ain't going to, and then you move on.
Yep. Sometimes it's as simple as, you know, you want to talk about something that's happened in, you know, today's news. And you mention it, oh, you guys see that? And the room's just like, no. So it's just like, I can either explain what's happened, bring us all up to speed, then start the joke, or I can go, all right, no big deal, and keep it moving. Do you know what I mean? But you got to, the experience will tell you when time to shoot and when it's time to keep it moving.
There's a big difference though between being like a funny kid. You see it in college and school. There's always a funny kid in school. Going from that to thinking, I can be a comedian. Because I've seen so many funny kids on the back of buses, and I'm like, that guy's funny. But I don't think that guy's thinking, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. Is it because of your mum, Angie Lamar? Is it because of being around her and people that she was a pioneer for black comedians in this country in the 90s and the 2000s? Is it being around her? Is it being around people like her? Where's it come from?
Do you know what's interesting? Like, there's the whole thing of like, everyone has someone that's funny with their mates. Yeah. But it's like, being funny around your friends, there's a comfort that's already established. You know me, I know you, I know your bants. And we bounce off each other. But my exchanges in the bounce is funnier. So you call me the funny guy.
Yeah, yeah.
We're all feeding this joke. When you get on stage, you start the show. Like, no one is going, yes, Trav. Yeah. Like, there's no one responding to you. You start the momentum, you start all of it. So it's a one-way convo that people don't realize once they get on stage. It's like, all right, I don't actually have anyone to bounce off. But it's weird because my upbringing is quite interesting with my mum being a stand-up comic. So, like, and my parents were, like, not really the babysitter types. So I was coming to the gigs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 6
I've met
years
your dad.
old.
I can see how,
I'm at the
everyone's
shows.
going out.
I'm backstage. Do you know what I mean? We're sitting with the comics and that. Like,
that must be amazing.
Bro, it's different to just know comics your whole life, and you grow up and you're on the circuit, and it's like you meet them. You're not a new comic to them. You're, bro, look how tall you've gotten. Like, you're looking like your dad now. Like, it's that kind of familiarity. So it was quite different because I never used to look at comedy as something that I want to do when I grow up. It's just, that's what my mum does. I go to shows quite regularly because of that. And that's it. But it's only when I look back now, I see how much comedy was around my upbringing.
Yeah.
Like, I'd seen comics live who I shouldn't have been allowed to be in the club. Bill Bellamy and all these comics, when they'd come over, I'd be there. Like
the Def Jam, when the Def Jam used to come over.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'd be there and see these people live. And then, like, I used to watch stand-up because I used to play basketball. That was the dream at one point. So I used to, like, watch stand-up comedy to relax me from my matches. It's only when I grow up now and I'm looking back, I'm like, stand-up comedy has literally been active at every stage of my life.
From the get-go.
Yeah. So I can't even really pinpoint my ability to do this down to any one thing. It could be, like, nature versus nurture. It might be my DNA, or it might just be the fact that I've just been surrounded by it.
When did like, the penny drop where you like, I'm good at this? Like, was there a first gig? Because I remember me being young and going to like these like Thursday and Sunday night things that Kojo used to put on. And every comic used to come down there and try and, even some big comics as well would come down and actually just tear out their material with people. Right. Some would just fall off. And some obviously I see now doing really big things. When was your like, I'm good at this?
I don't know if I had I'm good at this moment. I remember when I decided that I was going to go for it. Because, like, with me, I'm very meticulous with how I, like, target things and what I want to do. Yeah. So, like, it was the year I decided I was going to quit playing basketball. Because I was like, got to 21. And I was like, if this pro thing was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
I know guys that follow football, 27, they still think they're going to do something. I'm like, no. Your time has passed, brother.
These scouts, they're not coming for you, bro. Like, so I hit 21 and I had that moment, the penny dropped. I was like, this ain't happening, Joe. So I was like, because I used to, bro, if you see the way I lived, 6 a.m, shooting jump shots at the park.
Really?
Practice in the evening. Matches on certain days. Resting. I weren't raving in uni. That's how really it was.
I thought there was a big basketball thing back then.
Midnight Madness.
It was, loads used to happen. I almost felt like, and maybe because I felt like the NBA was big back then as well. So you see like those courts everywhere.
Yeah.
Now I look around and I don't even see many courts.
Do you know what it was? After the Olympics, the funding went just straight to zero. I don't know why. We were literally Luol Deng and all these people. They had such a good momentum. Yeah. He was at so many events, bro. It was so nice to see somebody from the ends in the league. And then the government just said, nah, ban basketball. And that's what kind of pushed stuff down.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically that year I'd quit playing ball and I started going out more. Kojo's Funhouse. And I'm sitting in the audience and I'm watching this comic kill it on stage. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know why I think I can do this, but I know I can.
Really?
Bro, every month I was there. And it got to a point where I ran out of friends that I could phone to invite. I'm now going on my own. And I'm just that brother on his own watching. And I remember seeing this comic like dying on stage, like he was having the worst gig of his life. And it wasn't even because he weren't funny. He offended the audience.
Okay.
So now they just wanted his head.
Yeah.
And I was watching, and there was a part I was rooting for him. I was like, don't back down from these, man. Don't back down. Like it woke me up.
Yeah.
And I remember this after that thinking, nah, I want to do this. I was so fired up for him to not leave the stage because of what he'd said. I was like, okay, now I'm starting to feel like a comedian before I'd even really stepped in. It was insane, bruv.
That's crazy.
So yeah, bruv, got my first gig done. Reached out to Kojo. Kojo arranged a gig at Sunday Show. And it was one of the ones where it's like, the first gig went really well. Like, I expected that.
Oh, you done the Sunday shows?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what my first show was.
Yeah.
So it's like, the first gig, it went so well. Then I got gassed. Second gig was rubbish, bro. Because I thought to myself, raw, first gig, smashed it. I'm
Everyone
the man.
laughing.
I can do this.
Yeah.
I came out. And you know the ones, it's just like, you just literally got too cocky. And it was just like the humbling experience where it's like, okay, now the work starts. So I never really had that moment of, I'm good at this. I just had that moment of, you got to take this thing very seriously. And then my mum is in the background saying, when people find out you're my son, don't embarrass me, you know?
It's true.
You know what I mean? She's like, I work too hard.
Yeah.
So you can't half-ass this thing. And then what was happening in my first year of stand-up, word was getting out in the circles of me being Angela Mar's son. I'd never really toted the horn because I always wanted to just get the respect of my peers. Hosts would introduce me as Angela Mar's son. And it's just like, you literally hear the crowd's journey go, oh yeah, I remember her. Yeah. And now I've got expectations of her standards.
It's bad. There's that guy, Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah.
Who didn't want everyone to know he was Denzel Washington's son. So I think he didn't even want to use the same surname. And it's almost like, okay, but you're not Denzel. And it's weird because I'm watching his films. He's a good actor in his own right.
Yeah.
But I'm watching his films thinking, and I'm comparing him to Denzel.
It's unnecessary.
And I'm like, why am I doing that? That's unfair. Like, why am I giving him...
Yeah.
Why am I comparing him to one of the greatest actors of all time?
Fam.
I can understand.
Yeah.
And I guess Connor, to an extent, to bring it to boxing,
That's
Connor
right.
and Chris have that same problem as well, where it's like,
time.
you're comparing me to my dad. You're comparing me to my dad. So it's hard.
And it's tempting to do things that remind the audience of your parent so that they can feel and see the connection.
Yeah.
But
Chris jumping the ropes.
Do you see the yellow shorts?
Didn't need to do
posing,
it.
I mean,
Didn't need to do it.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
And it's like you can get drawn into that stuff because this kind of what the fans want when they know the link. But you got to have a stubbornness where it's like, I'm still me. I'm just going to be me and whatever comes.
Have you've toured with Dave Chappelle, right? Or that's nuts.
It was crazy, bro.
But like, there's a certain generation of people. I'm 40. So for me, growing up, my greatest comics or stand-up comics were Eddie Murphy, and obviously Richard Pryor. But then just below that, I guess anyone 40 and below,
that's right,
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle's the guy.
It's not even close. There's not even a second. Like it's not Cat Williams. It's not Kevin Hart. It's Dave Chappelle.
100%.
So I can't imagine what being around, because I look at him as more than a comic.
Same.
I look at him as someone that's so smart. Sometimes when I watch it again. I'm trying to break down the joke. I'm like, jeez, he went there. Like, he went there and then brought it back. And I'm like, okay, Dave Chappelle is the GOAT.
Social commentary at times. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, he's saying things that just need to be said sometimes.
They've tried to cancel him how many times because of this?
This is the thing. Like, it's an interesting one because like you're a fan of him and it's like people just don't know how to have life with nuance. Everything is so polarizing and extreme.
It's either that side or that side.
You're either that side or that side. Like, we've got friends that live different lifestyles. Do you know what I mean? I've got friends that are doing mad things. Still my friend.
100%.
I'm not co-signing every single thing this man does. Do you know what I mean? But I still consider him a friend. So when I look at how we see our entertainers, I think to myself, why does nuance just get thrown out the window and you are evil, these two? I think it's ridiculous. But the experience of working with Chappelle, like, he is one of the comics I used to watch to prepare me mentally for basketball matches.
Really?
He's literally like someone who inspired. I used to learn his jokes, right? So that I could go to my parents where they were in the house and tell them the joke so that they could see how funny he was. Because I knew getting them to the computer was like a bit of a mission certain times. So like that was probably like my first joke telling experience. But I knew what this guy was doing. I was learning whilst I'm laughing. So it's like, and I look at the Chappelle show in the background. A lot of years you grow up with all of this person's content, and you see the integrity where it's like you walked away from money because it went against your beliefs and you stood for something powerful. And now I'm looking at you like, no, the respect
It's crazy. The narrative though was always a crackhead. I remember being young, and I look at him, and they used to find, you know what they do? They find a photo of you when you just stepped out your house. Like, oh, look at Dave Chappelle, he's losing the plot. He's drunk, drugs has got him. America, and I'm like, and then when you listen to him talk, none of that. Just no.
Telling you,
I was in my own lane, and I stayed in my own lane for a reason.
Big time.
No.
And it's like working with him was just incredible, bruv, because it's like you got the whole I'm a fanboy vibe, but then you also got the thing is like we're both comics. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I was standing by the side of the stage every single night that I went with him on tour, and I watched him, and I was just like, I wasn't even laughing. Like it was just a point where it's like I'm just watching the man. Do you know what I mean? I saw him get nervous before walking out on stage. I saw him come off stage and, you know, reach out to his brethren and be like, yo, what did you think of that? Was that good? And they were like, no, bro, you had it.
That's almost like they're human.
The human, yeah.
Because you think of someone like Dave. Honestly, I feel like he could just get out of bed and
not
just
think
do
about
that show for 2 hours.
That's what I'm saying.
But he's thinking, okay.
And what that showed me is that, like you say, he's human. And I was like, he is that great because of how he's dedicated his time. So what that did for me mentally is in my own journey, I was like, no, I can reach that height. Do you know what I mean? I can get there in my own way. It won't necessarily be like his career, but I can find my version of that moment. And it's just put a different battery on my back, seeing that applause.
What's the process? Is it like someone reaches out to your agent and says, okay, Chappelle's touring, he wants you to open it or be part of it? Or
No, so what happened was Kojo had a secret night. Dave Chappelle came over here on his own tour, and him and Kojo have a good relationship. Yeah. So I think he must have said to Kojo, I want to experience an underground night with, you know, London urban comics. Black comics, not even urban like that. That word is a proper black replacement. It's madness. Yeah. So anyway, Kojo's set this up at the Backyard Comedy Club. So I'm on the lineup and I'm just gassed because I'm like, Dave Chappelle's going to be here. Yeah. And I've always said, to all my boys, like, if I meet someone that I really admire, I don't want it to be under a thing where it's like, we meet outside a club and just shake hands and get a pic. No, I want you to see what I can do. Yeah. And I want to see what you think and see where I size up.
100%. It's almost like those rappers that used to stop Jay-Z and just start rapping.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not asking for a photo. I'm just going to start rapping on the spot, and who knows? Could be the lottery.
100%, bro. So it's mad. Walking into the venue now, I get there. Dave Chappelle standing right outside the front talking to his friends, and I walked straight past him. I went straight inside.
Nervous?
I was nervous, but at the same time, I was like, this ain't how I want to meet my hero. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I want to meet him in the moment where we cook. Yeah. So backstage, you know, a couple little like polite exchanges. How you doing, man? Thanks again. But when I went on stage, did my thing, I had one of the best gigs of my life. I'll never forget, Chappelle's coming to the stage to take, because he hosted it. So he's taking the mic off me, grabs my hand, man hug, pulls me in, he goes, you fucking killed it. Bro!
Brother.
That moment there.
What can beat that in life?
I walked off the stage smiling like it was Christmas, bro. And then afterwards now, like, I wanted to just get a video of us chatting together in it. As soon as I turned on the cam, he goes, he's amazing. Killed it. And I'm like, you know that moment you start thinking, I actually recorded this. Yeah, like, this video exists. Yeah. And it's like, what that did for my career after that point, it was like people were going, wait, Dave Chappelle rates Trav. Like,
I even think when I saw...
It was insane.
Again, look, and this is maybe me not doing my deep dive on you, but I obviously knew the comedy stuff. But when I saw the photo of you and Chappelle, I was like, oh, 1 second. Like, okay, Trav's a bit bigger than I thought. I was like, whoa, 1 second. Who's Trav? Like, so Trav just doesn't do impersonations. Trav's out there with Dave Chappelle. And you know, you can always tell when there's a photo of someone where you've just asked to be in the photo. And there's a photo with people that everyone's just cool. Everyone's in a photo. Do you know what I mean? And I saw that photo and I was like, hey, he's Dave Chappelle and Trav just taking a photo as normal. Bro. And that's why I was like, okay, there's levels. When you're taking it with what most people consider the greatest comic of all time,
that's what I'm saying.
There's levels to that.
It's different. And it's like, it's mad because it's like, it's one of those things where you look at how sometimes we are just as people and it reflects in entertainment where you've been on the circuit for X number of years. And Trav is cool, whatnot. Dave Chappelle now says it and it's like, nah, Trav, trust me, bro, you're the guy. And it's just like, what changed? Do you know what I mean?
It's almost like you needed someone to
validate
tick to verify. Verify. Oh, no, he's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Trav's cool then. Yeah, Trav's cool.
But it's mad. I'm not mad at that type of thing. It's just how it goes in entertainment. But it's like that experience with Dave Chappelle is just really, it's given me a different mindset
Of what's attainable?
Of what is attainable, and also what's, how can I say it? One thing I see in Dave Chappelle is integrity, and is a commitment to himself, where it's like, I'm not compromising who I am. You are going to love me, you are going to hate me, you're going to feel a whole bunch of things. I'm still going to be me. And
that's difficult.
That's power.
That's power.
Big time.
But that's also, it's not easy to get that.
It's not
and I
easy.
guess that's why the best are the best. That's why people like that are very few. Because only a few will risk doing that, especially for their careers. You're right. Dave Chappelle turned down millions when he could have taken what was on the table. Like, I'm not going to sort of forego my integrity. Radio Raheem, is he a stand-up comedian as well? Is he just around them?
No, he's like, I think he's just boxing space, comment.
Okay.
Yeah, boxing content.
Okay.
But I know he's good friends with Dave.
That's what I saw, because I remember I saw him on the Joe Rogan show. And then Joe Rogan was asking, and I see photos with him and Dave Chappelle as well. And I'm like, okay, well, how did that connection go? You know what people are like, how does he know Dave Chappelle?
Dave's a big boxing fan.
Okay.
Big boxing fan.
Maybe there's something there in that then.
Yeah. It was mad because I met David Hay the last time Dave Chappelle came over.
I saw that photo as well.
And they were chatting boxing. Like when I walked into the change room.
Because David Hay should have known. You should have told me. How much I stick up for you, David?
Oh, I told him.
Okay.
I had to tell him.
Do you know how many times I get destroyed for sticking up for you?
When I saw David Hay in the audience, I was like, nah, you gotta know. You gotta know from here. Do you know what I mean? But it's dope when it's like you start to see people stand, and that's what makes me think the core essence of stand-up comedy is that integrity. So it's like when you on our podcast where we've got this thing, keep the same energy, and there's times where you have run-ins and people are like, oh, bro, you said this on the podcast about this fighter. Are you gonna say it to his face? I make sure I don't shy away from those moments, and it's not about you're disrespecting this person. I'm like, no, I'm being me.
Yeah, I'm keeping that same energy.
Keeping that same energy. And, I'm never setting out to disrespect people. But I have to be myself at all costs.
You lose, I think, a bit of yourself if you don't.
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
People then say, yeah, but when I saw you, you were very, sheepish, or it's not going to work. So I agree. You have to kind of keep that same energy. What's the plan with this? I mean, what's the Mount Rushmore? Is it like most comics will want a Netflix series? You've already done your own show. You headlined your own show, bro.
Yeah.
Think about how mad that is.
You
headlined your own show. People bought tickets, not to, and this is no disrespect. If you're opening for Dave Chappelle, they're coming to see Dave.
That's right.
They're not thinking, oh, Trav's on there as well. I'm coming to see Trav. They're coming for Dave, and whatever's there is there.
That's right.
It's almost like when we go boxing, we're not coming for the undercard.
Yeah.
We're coming for the main event.
Yeah.
We praise a good undercard, but we hope, 9 times out of 10 it's shit main event. You've done your own show now. People are buying tickets for Trav. That must be mental.
It is. And it's like, it's one of those things where I just get super grateful. I get super grateful because it's like the journey of being a stand-up comic, you've done so much legwork. Do you know what I mean? I've been in this game coming up to 13 years. Do you know what I mean?
That's
and it's
a long
like,
time.
Yeah. And I love it as if I've just started. And it's like, especially this last year, like I was talking about it on my show in terms of like me experiencing therapy. And it's like, it's allowed me to open up a different level of myself and be completely transparent.
What made you think you wanted to? Why did you? I've done therapy.
Yeah.
And I think obviously in the black community, that kind of
it's a bit of a stigma. Yeah.
It's more than a bit, bro. It's
That's
like
right.
what? It's pray or do whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Go to church.
Go to church, pray. Whatever. It's definitely not go and talk to someone.
That's right.
I felt like I needed it just because I don't know. Almost like you feel like it's almost like I could breathe a bit. Like there's so much. I'm carrying so much that you guys don't see. Like, I feel like I just breathed.
Yeah. I think for me, it was just curiosity. A lot of people were talking about therapy, and I was just like, okay, so what is this thing? And I signed up to this thing called Black Minds Matter, and they were having this like free classes. So I was like, what can I lose? Having conversations, and I'm like, I've never thought about anything like this before. And it's like, what that did for me as a comic, it opened me out. Well, for starters, it opened me up as a member of my family, like as a father, as a son, as a partner to my girl. And it's like, I'm able to access different types of understandings and perspectives at home. And now when it came to picking up a pen to writing a show, I was like, I don't have any desire to hold anything back from my audience now.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, if I look back and compare now to then, you could say that there's a level of calculatedness with how I used to write. It's like, I can give a version of myself, but it's the edited version. It's perfectly put.
Ain't that dangerous with comics? Like, I don't know. Like, I almost feel like when I watch comics back in the, like, again, Eddie Murphy's one of my biggest, probably the biggest comic I love. I feel like Eddie couldn't get away with saying what he said in the 90s or the 80s in those shows.
Yeah,
No chance now.
Yeah.
Ain't that a danger of comics whereby some people don't take it as comics? Some people take this as serious chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's the game.
Yeah.
It's the game, and it's
It is
the
what it
price
is.
you pay. Like, you know, you're gonna have to. I've put opinions out there for stuff that I believe in. They may age badly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what people have to realize is I've also aged in this moment, in this
That's
equation.
interesting.
I'm also a different person now. So, you know, that's why when I see like people cancel people who are completely different today for stuff that happened back then, you got to be like, all right, somebody could have some fucked up opinions, but they can also grow from that place.
100%. I hate when I see people
So
do
it's a bit
deep dives
tricky.
on people's Twitter pages
Yeah.
and find something someone said 10 years ago.
It's tricky because, you know, you start thinking some people, you know,
I mean,
get better at-
racism's a no-no.
Well, this is the
Don't
thing,
wrong.
because some people get better at hiding because the climate's changing, it's not allowed. So they
Yeah.
get better of secluding those opinions and keeping them to a certain place. But then some people literally have grown and changed, and I think we've just got to be able to tell the difference. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, for me, I look at myself and I'm like, I'm going to be transparent on stage, like in a way that I haven't been. So it's like my last show, I was up there talking about my experience with therapy, like, you know, losing my granddad, what that did for me, like growing up, how I viewed my dad. Like, there's certain things that, fortunately, that's my style in terms of I can make that into humor. Some people's some people as comic, that's not their gift, and it's cool, but that's mine. And I'm like, I've got to lean into who I am. So when I say committing to myself, I'm looking like, you can look at somebody who's been successful in the way they're doing things and think you have to copy. But it's like, for me, I'm like, I've committed to myself in the fact that, you know, when you say, where does it go? What do you want to happen? I'm like, wherever this takes me.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? I'm happy and I'm at peace with whatever this journey has in store for me, but I'm committed to this one.
I like it because, again, I see a lot of comics chasing that Netflix money right now.
Yeah.
Because it's there, right? I mean, everyone wants a show on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of you just saying, you know what? We'll see where the cookie crumbles. Wherever it lands, it lands. Wherever it lands, it lands. How did the boxing thing come? Obviously, look, big boxing fan.
Yeah, man.
Is that from your dad as well, or is that just from yourself?
You know, it's funny. Growing up, the men in my family love boxing. So it's like, my granddad was a massive boxing fan. Dad's a big boxing fan. Whenever big fights were happening, I was watching it with the guys. You know, and you know, my grandma and my mum were there as well. But it's like the whole family. Mike Tyson, Holyfield. I remember watching that live. I must have been about 7, and I was like in there. You know what I mean? Begging my grandma to pray for Tyson, like because it's looking nuts. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Everyone was like, what's happening here?
Fam, I couldn't believe it.
This wasn't part of the script. 1 second, Tyson's losing
Bro.
and losing badly.
telling you, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain fights I remember watching as a child, like Frank Bruno, Oliver McCall. Me and my dad watched that. I remember my dad screaming in the 12th round. Do you know what I mean? Gerald McClellan, Nigel Benn.
That one.
I remember being young and wanting McClellan to win because
Really?
I just thought American fighters were just great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my dad was rooting for Nigel Benn, then feeling guilty because McClellan was hurt.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
My like you said, your Holyfield Tyson. My Holyfield Tyson moment was Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, the first one.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on there?
So I'm saying.
Yeah, I couldn't quite work out. You know, you don't understand boxing. I don't understand all the styles and the nuances. I couldn't quite get it. I was like, why is Nigel Benn losing to this guy?
That's what I'm saying.
And losing badly. And then, oh my God, they're going to stop the fight. I didn't know. I might have cried. I don't know what happened. I might have
that's
cried.
what I'm
I don't know. Yeah.
Bro, I know I cried when Eubanks lost to Steve Collins.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I told him that. We met with
Did you?
Vegas.
Yeah.
I told him, bro. And he put his hand on my shoulders like, oh, okay. But yeah, boxing's just been, I've loved boxing like all my life. But it's weird because I think I took a serious interest in boxing about maybe 10 years ago. It must have been about 2011.
Yeah.
And I was going for a really tough stage in life. Like, I'd just become a dad. Like, my daughter, she was born. And financially, it was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was young, growing up fast, trying to figure life out. So I'm working in a call center after being out of a job for like 6 months. So I was like trying to pick my life up, basically.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy is happening, but my heart is
paying
not
the
in
bills.
it.
Is it paying the bills?
It's not bringing money.
Yeah.
So it's like, it feels like a hobby at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm going through the news article and I see this advert for white collar boxing. And it was like, train like a fighter for 4 months and have a real fight. And my logic for how I processed this was, if I can do this and win, then I can turn my life around. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So I just literally latched onto this moment and I just started training for a fight. So in training for a fight, I'm now researching boxing.
Okay.
So what I would do, like I was on this campaign for this call center and there were no contacts. So the call, it's just taking over and no one to phone. So all I would do is choose a fighter, say Lennox Lewis, and watch every single one of his fights for that week.
In the office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll do it fight by fight. So I'll watch Nigel Benn's fights, Frank Bruno's fights.
Wow.
And that's how I started to just get my information and database of boxing. So I'm picking
I love that because I feel like a lot of fans joining into the sport now, even some old school fans, are more just stats.
That's right.
So they'll go into someone's record and he's lost. And he lost 8 times. They haven't watched the fights.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's almost the way sport has become. It's so Americanized now. It's all everything's stats,
Absolutely.
rather than just use your eyes and watch. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you start to see like there's certain fighters' records that just don't tell the story.
Deceiving.
Like Emmanuel Augustus.
100%.
The drunken and it's like you start to understand there's a lot of fights in there that's like late notice. Do you know what I mean? He's gone up into different weight just for that one fight. And it's like, do you know what I mean? You start to see there's actually a story here.
Similar now. I think Rosado, what's that, 12, 11 defeats?
It's mad.
He's not a 12 defeat fighter.
Exactly.
He's not that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I'd watch fights and, you know, I was given homework by my trainer, for example. He's like, go watch Tommy Hearn. Do you know what I mean? Go and watch him. He's built like you.
I'm about to say that. He's got your arms.
That's
and
right.
Your legs. Yeah.
So it's like, cause I was like at welterweight, so 140, 145, I think I weighed at 6'2".
Yeah.
So go and study this man.
Yeah.
And it's like those little things, I started to see how powerful boxing is. So the way it connected with me was that if I can turn my life around and win this fight, and I won that fight, and after that I just felt like I can do anything in life if I commit. So I wasn't pursuing a boxing career, but I felt like I felt ready for life, and boxing was now a part of it. So now I'm watching boxing all the time, and it just became a serious part of my life. So fast forward now to this era where it's like a podcast and we're having good conversations. It was one of those weird moments where you start to think, how does stuff just fall into place?
It's crazy, right?
Me and KG used to do a radio show together on The Beat London, right? And that was a Saturday morning show, and we just talk about random stuff in the news and da-da-da-da. But we had great chemistry. We never knew that was coming to be a podcast later on.
Doesn't make sense.
You see what I'm saying?
Honestly, life doesn't make sense. I said to someone the other day about this. You're not in control of it. Just jump on, strap in, and go, because it could take you anywhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like even with me and my boxing thing, like growing up for me, it was athletics, football, bit of basketball. I loved watching tennis because of Roger Federer. Boxing, it was around my house. I've got brothers, my dad, obviously Mike Tyson. I boxed as an amateur. I say a bit, 7 or 8 fights as an amateur. Nothing great. I'm not joking. Nothing. And that was it. Never. Only until I went, funny because you say call center. I worked in a call center as well, Islington Council. And my friend next to me, Ryan, big boxing guy.
Right.
Massive. So we started Box Talk together, our own little channel, almost like what you and KG do.
Okay.
And my boxing knowledge went like from there to there because I was on a show with him and I thought he's destroying me. So I thought I needed to get better. I needed to come with some ammunition.
That's
like
right.
He knew stuff from and I'm like, okay, I can't lose like this anymore.
Yeah.
So I would then go home and kind of do what you did. All right, YouTube every night. I'm gonna watch all these fights. Every single fight, I literally watched all the top fighters from the 90s until now. Just watched all of them.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's how my love for boxing came. It wasn't hardcore like a lot of people. It wasn't like that. It was just because I wanted to compete with Ryan's knowledge on boxing.
That's right.
And that was like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And now fast forward now.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I met Ryan. We went for a drink about a month ago. And I was like, and he was like, your knowledge is more than mine now. And I was like, I know.
It's mad.
I've surpassed you, my brother. I've surpassed you. So it's
mad.
crazy how boxing kind of just, it gets you. Yeah. And then once you're in it, you're in it.
You're in.
You're in. You're stuck in, and it can throw you away. It can shit on you because the sport's so crap sometimes, but you're in.
You're
locked.
in.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Like, I just love boxing. It's funny because, like, you know, some people might see us in the boxing space and just think, you know, there was like, you get some people's opinions, you know, you get trolls online.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you know, it's just chances, just trying to hustle in and trying to climb the way. And then you start thinking,
Makes me laugh.
I have no plans. I had no plans.
Yeah, like
Do you
dude,
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, my bread and butter, how I pay my mortgage, stand-up comedy and the stuff I've been doing over there. Like, boxing conversations for me, it's literally a passion. Like,
That's all it is.
I will do this for free. I will do this anywhere.
100%.
If I'm not recording, this convo is going to happen.
This will be with a friend. We will have this if there was no button being pressed right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know what I mean? That's why it's like, whenever stuff does happen, I'm just so appreciative because I'm like, I genuinely just love boxing. Do you know what I mean? I have this weird type of care for a fighter's journey. Do you know what I mean? It's like I just get attached.
I do that. Unfortunately, obviously, I'm attached to AJ's journey.
Yeah.
And it kills me.
Bro.
So when he loses...
Bro,
it's like, yo, I don't know what to do.
Genuine sadness.
Genuine sadness,
Fam.
brother. And I'm like, I don't even really know you.
I don't know you.
I feel like he obviously now he knows who I am, and well, hopefully, and I know who he is.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I have no idea who you are, and you've just affected me for at least 72 hours.
Do you know what when I met David Haye, yeah, it was a weird feeling of looking at someone and thinking, I know so much about your life. And you have
no idea who I am.
You don't know who I am.
Don't care.
You just met me.
Yeah.
But I could tell you so much about your business. Like, it was insane. But you start thinking, that's what, I think it's good to be a fan. I think a lot of people kind of get to this point where they're like, oh, I'm not getting invested anymore. It's just, I'm like, nah.
That's okay.
I want to get invested.
I want to get invested. That makes me want to tune in. It makes me want to sit down and talk and make videos about the guy. David Haye is an interesting one. I was thinking about David Haye the other day, like, I wonder if people are going to look back at his career in 10 years' time. I don't know if they're going to be kind to him. Like, I watched him at his peak when he was Enzo Maccarinelli, when I thought he was just...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
madness.
That guy there is destroying any and everyone. Like, he's just physically bigger, faster, confident, arrogant. That was him. No injuries.
That's right.
But I only saw that version of Haye, I would say, for 2 or 3 fights. I saw at the end of Jean-Marc Mormec, that fight. Enzo, maybe a bit Monty Barrett, maybe. Yeah. And that's really it, you know. And I don't know if that's enough for the talent that he was. Remember, we're talking like amateur world championship silver medalist. Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like if it wasn't for the injuries, I think that we could have seen a very, very good heavyweight.
Absolutely. I think the heavyweight campaign is like, I still rate, I think the Chisora win is like quite underrated. Because that's a Chisora that just came off the Vitali.
Yeah. And Vitali couldn't put him down.
He couldn't put him away.
Vitali was considered the hardest hitting heavyweight at the time. Couldn't put him down.
And it's like, I look at the career and I think to myself, I do find it funny because I think there is a part where, kind of like with Floyd, where people might not have liked his personality. So it conflates how they view the actual career. But David Haye was a beast. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I get a lot of stick because I'm always defending Haye. But I'm like, if you just put all the other stuff aside and look at what this man was doing in his prime, like at cruiserweight.
Oh, he's incredible.
Different gravy, bro.
Physically. You know, everyone talks about like the way AJ looks. Yeah. Physically, David Haye just looked like, bruh.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just unfortunate that his body didn't hold up. But I think when you're naturally gifted like that and the way your body operates, if you start to lose stuff with time and age and stuff like that, those little differences, that millimeter that you lost, it's a huge difference.
Interesting when you say that, because the naturally gifted ones are like that, like Roy Jones, another naturally gifted athlete.
It's day and night.
When you look at like someone like a Bernard Hopkins, who wasn't naturally gifted, but look how long his career was, because he didn't rely on those things that were speed gifts and all those kind of stuff. It was just like, I'm going to work hard on everything. Yeah. Whereas I feel like Roy, not putting Roy and David in the same category, but both of their things were about speed and power and all that. That athleticism, yeah.
And it's one of the things where I think, you know, you get attached to the fighter of a certain era where it's like, that's it now. That's what's happened with me, where it's like, David Haye comes up in most conversation because I'm like, let's not forget. You know what I mean?
Joshua's good, man, but let's not forget David Haye.
But I remember thinking, you know, there was a time where just before the first belly fight, when David Haye was like really talking up the AJ fight and really wanting it.
If it was, for a fact, I remember, like, if he beat Bellew, it would have been AJ.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, AJ Haye, Wembley. That would have been the biggest heavyweight fight this country has ever seen by a million miles.
Madness.
It would have been incredible, especially if he had destroyed Bellew.
That's what I'm saying.
And that AJ was heavyweight champion of the world at the time, innit? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have been just.
It would have been madness.
2 casual monsters.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no A side, B side in there. You're just talking A minus, A plus.
It's just 2 big colossal names.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you look at it and you think, we've missed out on a moment. But it's what happens when errors.
Yeah. When they try and cross like that.
Lennox was fortunate to be able to touch the new era in the way he did with that win. And I think he left at the right time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not to say that I think he would have. I think he was always winning in that fight. Do you know what I mean? People
the Vitali one.
Yeah. People like to go back and forth. Oh, he's down the scorecard. Bro, a knockout and a stoppage by cuts. It wasn't like it was a clash of heads.
Bro, that uppercut, which
busted
took
him
Vitali's
open.
head off.
Horrendous shot.
Yeah, honestly. And that wasn't, and you're right, that's a Lennox right at the end.
That's what I'm saying.
At the end. I thought Lennox was a fantastic heavyweight. I really did. You know, I wonder who would have won the Fury David Haye fight.
Interesting.
It's interesting when you think of it now. Because Fury, we didn't know was going to be this guy.
We didn't know what he had.
No one. I don't care anyone. Everyone, knew. No, you didn't. No one knew Fury was going to be this monster.
At all.
And Haye at the time, it was almost like Haye was laughing at him like, I'll destroy you.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, David Haye will destroy him. But now I think about it, I'm like...
I I think because you got to remember, it's Fury back then. That Fury back then was getting put down by Cunningham and them, man.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Cunningham put him
David
hard.
Hay land. I think what could have happened in that fight is that he just puts him down a bunch of times. And Hay would have been the A side. He'd have been favoured by the referee. The culture would have been different.
Agreed.
So he just eventually they'd wave
Points,
it.
and
Yeah,
they'd wave it off.
They'd wave it
Yeah,
off. It's
yeah.
like, bro, you've been put down 3 times in this round. Get him out here. So it would have been one of those ones, or Fury becomes the star back then by beating David Hay. But
Tyson Fury's incredible, you know.
It's nuts.
Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, if I'm honest with you. I look at him, and it just physically, he is in no shape at all. Like, let's be honest, physically, but he has got this fighting will that, bruh, doesn't make any sense.
You know, it's funny because I've criticised him a lot.
So have I. No, I've openly did it.
I've criticised him a lot, and it's one of them things where it's like, for me, I just think, you know, the record is a little thin for names.
It is.
You know, you get away with murder. You know, you've had absences from the sport because of crazy, like, mad situations
that you put on yourself.
That's right. Yeah. So it's like, I can't put you up there with AJ's resume, but if we just look at you, he's got something that is.
Bruh.
It's interesting because it's like that last Wilder fight showed me that this is a man that knows what he has to do, and that's very powerful in boxing, where you know what's required. Some fighters don't have that unless it's been in their camp and it's been drummed in. They don't know that. Oh, this is what we're on. All right, cool. When I see that in a fighter, I think to myself, "Now I respect you still," because that is powerful.
It must be so weird, especially for Wilder in those fights. Not the first one, because the first one, I think Tyson Fury's on the back foot. He's fighting. He's almost old school Fury. I'm going to fight on the back foot.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm going to try to avoid you, Deontay Wilder. But it must be weird for Wilder having a guy coming straight at him.
That's what I'm
It
saying.
must be like, what are you doing? This isn't how this works.
Exactly.
You're supposed to
I'm
back
the powerful
off.
one.
Yeah, and you run away and you try and
Yeah.
score a points victory. And Fury's like, no. I'm coming straight at you, brother. And that is intimidating.
But this is the thing that does annoy me, because it's like, you know, Fury's getting a lot of praise for these Wilder wins. And beating Wilder, it's impressive when you dress it up as he's one of the hardest punches in history and he knocked him out. Sick. But sometimes that's the way to beat him. Sometimes the bully just needs to be bullied.
100%. We've seen it with Tyson.
So I'm saying.
Tyson, we saw it with him, yeah.
When Holyfield
decided, I'm bullying you back.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, just a simple technique. I'm going to go down to your level. You're not going to be the smaller man in here. I'm going to be. And
Like
it's just.
a headbutt, take that headbutt.
That's what I'm saying.
All that stuff.
So when you bully the bully, sometimes that's the formula. Now, for
But
me.
you know how scary that is? To go in and bully the bully. Like even just from a kid.
Yeah.
When, the bully, the big bully, and you got to go and try and bully him. That's not easy to do.
It's just one of them things where it's like, you know, if I look at my journey with intimidation at school, you could get intimidated by somebody who was intimidating. Now that I've boxed for X amount of years and experienced the gym, the sparring, you know, a man walks in, he looks like he can, and you see my man with the grey hair, tuck him in. You know what I'm saying? Intimidation for me, until I see what minerals are in there, I'm not buying it.
100%.
So I feel like
100%.
with fighters, it's a different level of.
I always say this, by the way, and this is what I'm so happy you just touched on it. Sorry to cut across you. When people tell me he's scared, I'm like, no, brother. Let me tell you now what's happened. They've gone to each other's managers. How much money's on the table? Not enough. I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Fighters aren't scared, They're different breed.
You know, I disagree.
You think they're scared?
I think there is an element of fear, but it's not the type of fear that would make the regular man go away.
Okay.
Them men are still going to fight.
Yeah.
But there is a fear that's there because they know what's in front of them.
The danger.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
not
They
that
must
type of-
know.
yeah.
Like, you're right, actually, because I spoke to Tony Bellew about Usyk, and he said going into the ring, going towards it, it wasn't that he was scared, but he knew he was going to get hurt.
Yeah.
He knew there's going to be a pain associated with however this fight ends. Even if he wins, he knows he's not going to come out the same. So, there is that fear, I guess,
And I think some fighters handle it a lot better than others. Some don't handle it. Like Frank Bruno is somebody who I'd say didn't have the best relationship with his own management of nerves, because he had the minerals to beat a lot of the guys he was in there with.
Looked scared.
Tyson caught him with a beautiful shot, and he looked surprised that he did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that feeling is, oh no, I've hit you, now you're going to hit me. That's, these are the things that you watch from the outside and you
I
think.
think AJ has that now.
I think he's generally tentative about, like, an all-out scrap.
Yeah.
And it's quite frustrating because it makes things exaggerated in your head. Like if you spar someone scared to get hit, you're gonna get hit, and when you do get hit, your mind is gonna tell you, "Oh no, it hurts." But if it did hurt, your legs would have wobbled.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Usyk landed some big shots.
Big shots.
And he didn't. You know what I mean? He didn't do anything that you think, oh, his chin's gone.
Yeah, there wasn't this Like, you know, like the only
Ruiz.
Dillian White fight. No, the Dillian White where his legs kind of wobble. There wasn't that with Usyk.
Nah.
It was just a case of, you caught me.
It's overthinking.
You caught me, yeah.
He wanted a punch-perfect performance. So anytime he got hit, his mind said, oh, shit. And that's where I think his mentality was off. But it's like, I look at fighters who have that bite down, like you said, Nigel Benn.
Bruh.
Nigel Benn said, you know what I mean? Like, when
nail him to the coffin. You got to nail him.
Listen, when we were talking about potentially fighting Roy Jones, he said straight, he's like, yeah, no, he put the fear of God up me.
Yeah.
But I wanted it.
Yeah.
But I wanted it.
I wanted it. Yeah.
And that for me is where it's like,
inject a bit of that into AJ, and we have the complete machine.
It's fight
inject
or flight.
just a little bit of that, even a bit of Tony Bellew in him. Just inject some of that into AJ's veins, please.
Bro, this is typical me, but even David Haye.
Inject a
when
bit
the
of him.
Achilles went, any man is gonna. Most men in boxing are gonna be like, "No, I'm done."
He showed me something different there,
bro. He was on. He's looked down and said, "All right,
Achilles
let's get it in.
Let's go."
Bro, that for me is one of the maddest moments.
Let's have it. It's crazy, and the picture of like the tapes coming off.
Yeah,
it's like the Achilles is gone, but let's go.
Madness.
Yeah, you have to knock me out.
The dramatics of that fight.
That was fantastic. Those two fights there they made Bellew.
Yeah.
They made not Makabu. It's not the Makabu win. It wasn't that. It was David Haye. No one expected Bellew to do that. Nobody expected Tony Bellew to do that. Who excites you now in boxing?
Oh, man.
It's been a good year, though, to be fair.
A great
Last year
boxing,
was a great year for boxing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, I don't know if I exaggerate when I say that, because I spoke to Gareth A. Davis, and he was like, it's one of the best years I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, was it that good?
I'd have to go back and revisit some years.
I think it was, yeah. Was it that good? But then in my head, I'm thinking, we had that big Canelo Billy Joe Saunders fight. Everyone was waiting for that.
Oh, snap.
Like, what can Canelo do? You know what I mean? Everyone's like 80,000 people.
Yeah.
It looked crazy, that one. Then obviously Wilder, Fury, AJ, Usyk. We had some big ones, like big stadium.
There's a case. Conor Benn's emergence as a star.
Conor Benn's emergence. You know, we've had some big ones. We had some. Was Errol Spence, Danny Garcia at the start? Like, when was that? I can't remember when that was.
I feel like that might be
October or something of 2020,
yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. Maybe.
It's funny, like there's so many different storylines that I keep up with. Like you got the English light heavyweight scene.
Bruh.
That is so exciting to me. For me, that I can't talk about it enough.
Yeah, it's so exciting, but is there anything gonna happen?
That's the annoying part.
Is there anything like realistic? Like, I done the videos the other day, probably seen it, that the Zone one saying Yard Boatsi's the fight I want to see. Like, no disrespect to the others. Craig Richards, Dan Aziz, I know they're all going to say stuff about me, fine. Callum Johnson, Callum Smith. But Yard Boatsi needs to happen. Do I think it's going to happen ever?
It's a tricky one. And it's funny because you say down the line and then you start to realize their age and you're like, it's kind of needs to happen.
It's now, please.
Yeah. But it's like you got them two, you got Craig Richards, Dan Aziz coming through. You know, Lyndon Arthur's not done.
You can't dismiss him. If you're going to dismiss him, you have to dismiss Yard has lost twice. You know what I mean? You can't do that.
He's not done. Callum Smith is there kind of proving his case and it's like Joe Smith Jr. is still the champ. And he must see this conversation and just think, right, you don't think I'm really the easy touch?
Yeah, you might, all of you want to fight me? Because now, like Tunde recently came out and said, no, we want our chance against Joe Smith.
Yeah.
So everyone's thinking, he's the beatable one.
This exactly. And it's then exciting because you start looking at the other men in the division, that Bivol and the Beterbiev, they're just sitting there like, bro, you know you got to come to us at some point. And it's really thriving. I think that's just a great bunch of storylines in itself. Then you got Conor Benn and it's like, okay.
That's an interesting one.
How far does he go?
But I find the Conor one fascinating.
Yeah. Because
I have no idea what's going to happen next. Like, I looked at him against Algeria, just watching it closely, and I know some people say, it's only Algeria and he's done. And I get that. But if a fighter's done, show me that he's done.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? If he is, he's over the hill and he's rubbish, show it to me, please.
That's right.
And when he destroyed him, I was like, okay, you treated him like he was a dumb fighter. That's a box ticked for me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it the opposite way around. I'm saying he's done. You made me know that he's done.
You let me know he's done.
You let me know. And the way he started, he was dodging punches and he went really low. And then the power.
Yeah.
I was like,
Trust me.
Conor might...
Nailing him to that shot there, I said, okay, Conor.
Yeah. I was like, you showed me something.
I see you, bro.
Because where before I was saying, don't put him in with an Avanesian type. Now I'm like...
Maybe do put him in.
Maybe put him Avanesian. Avanesian's what, 34? I think 34, 35.
It can happen.
It can happen. Make it happen.
And you know what the thing is? It's like, I like about Conor Benn is that he improves every fight. Every fight, I see a new element of his game that he's been working on in the gym. So when this man gets on there and he says, I'm crushing it in the gym, I'm like, no, I believe you.
Do you watch his YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Conor Benn TV.
You see the work?
He's working.
Bro.
There's sometimes I rewind stuff about 100 times just to, Connor's crushing it in the gym, bro.
And that's what I love to see when fighters display hard work and it shows in the ring. the frustration I've had with, say, a Chris Eubank Jr. is that I know he's got that same work rate, but it now comes down to what are you doing in the gym for the boxing to not have shown the rewards of this. And it's like those two, because of my journey of coming after, you know, a parent who's done what you've done and come to your footstep, I've followed their journeys, and I've always got a soft spot for them, because I'm like, I want to see you, man, get your own piece, just so that people can back off you, because the expectation is there. So it's like,
Chris should have been a star, though.
Chris
Eubank should have been a star.
that-
I'm sorry.
That night when
He's had everything in order to be a star.
when he fought Spike Sullivan on the AJ undercard,
I thought he's gone.
that was one of the most complete nights of boxing for me. I
Bro,
enjoyed
and the card was fantastic. The card was beautiful,
Bro.
And he was there, and I'm thinking, you're a star here, bro. Like you're a star. The way in which he dealt with Spike, I was like, Spike's no scrub, you know.
He's not
especially
a
then,
soft
he was
touch.
no soft touch. He treated him like
Yeah.
what Thingy did to Algeria, a soft touch. And I was like, all right, it's go time.
That's right.
It's go time. Obviously, Silly moving to 168. He's not that kind. He's too small for 168. But I'm like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Like, when are we gonna go now? Like, look, Liam Williams, we'll see. But Chris should be fighting world level guys now.
He should have taken the Triple G fight, I think.
Back then.
And if he lost, his stock would have gone up. Like, you lose, cool. It's still Triple G. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like how Amir Khan.
It could break you, blood.
Well, that's
I mean, look what it done to Kell. I
Brook.
mean, don't get me wrong.
Kell Brook was too small, though.
Too small.
He shouldn't have been in there at all.
Bruh.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But I think, you know, this is the Hurt Business. This is the game you guys play, and I think that was a good strategic move for his career. Win or lose, you still win. The hearts of the British crowd go.
Are with you.
Yeah.
They love that, by the way.
what I'm saying.
This is the thing about the British crowd. That's why I laugh when they say that AJ's done. No. If you show a bit of heart, and AJ will fill up Tottenham Stadium tomorrow.
Easy.
They love that. That's why Frank was a good example. Frank Bruno. Didn't matter. Everyone loves Frank, don't they?
Yeah.
It's not like the Americans where you lose one.
They don't care no more.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah,
That's Teofimo. You better move to Honduras, man. Get out of here. You know?
Yeah.
They don't care. Whereas the Brits will get behind you. We love a scrap.
Big time.
Like that. And if you show heart, we'll like it.
Yeah.
It's when you don't show heart that they're like, nah.
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
I think they feel like Chris maybe hasn't. I thought he showed a heart in the George Groves fight.
Yeah, no, he did. And you know what I mean? Like, he was really cut in that fight as well.
Cut badly.
Yeah.
Cut badly,
I feel like that's a fight I think he should have really won. Groves was at the end of it in that fight there. And the shoulder went in the 12th.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of stuff to answer for Chris as far as different moments in his career.
You look at it. Conor Ben, again, like Chris Eubank, barely any amateur experience. Both of them very, I think might be single digits, very, very low.
Yeah.
Why is Conor already, I think, such a technically better boxer than Chris?
It's the training.
Am I missing something? Honestly, when I see Chris, I see him lunging to punches. Don't get me wrong, when he
doesn't
puts
establish
nothing looks
footwork,
good. Whereas I look at Conor already, and I'm like, he's grounded with his footwork. His movement's really good. I'm like, he looks like someone that's had about 80 amateur fights. Conor. Whereas Chris still looks like
you know what it is
raw.
though. It's the time in the gym and how you spent it. You know what I mean? I think you buy into what social media presents when you see him on the pad machine. You're thinking, who's gonna be able to handle this? And do you know what I mean? But then it's like in the fight, it's like he's not able to get in and get any of these shots off because his footwork and the jab is not in sync.
Yeah, that bit requires no footwork or a jab. It's just it does look good though.
But also, it's like I see an interview with Ronnie Davis, and he's like, I think that's his name. Yeah, Ronnie Davis.
Yeah, his trainer. Yeah,
and he's like,
his old trainer.
He trains himself. He doesn't listen to anyone, and it's like
he's missed it. You know, don't get me wrong. I get that he's with Roy now, and I love Roy.
I don't know that Roy's the best trainer.
Is Roy a best trainer? I don't. You know what I mean? We think of Roy. I think of Roy as a fighter. Don't know if Roy's a good trainer. But even if Roy was a good trainer, he's missed the peak 7 years or 6. He's been a pro for years. You know, that's 7 years of just being with an elite trainer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or even not even an elite, just anyone that you listen to.
And he's like 31 now.
31.
So that's you're kind of your body's set. In the ways. Do you know what I mean? You can learn new things, don't get me wrong, but your body is like you're the man you are now.
And you will revert to type. You can learn
in pressure
those things,
situations.
In pressure situations, you'll revert to type and you'll start doing what you have been doing prior to Roy.
And I look at Roy as a trainer, and I obviously I don't know what Roy's like as a trainer because I don't think he's got too much of a resume.
No, there
training.
isn't.
But fighters who have natural gifts, right? Yeah, of course he's going to have a boxing IQ, but the natural gifts that he has, he can't pass those on.
Agreed.
So being able to see a shot and just move a certain way.
How do you teach that?
You can't teach that to someone.
You can't.
So it's a interesting journey Chris is on, man. I think his dad's involvement might have hindered him, the development-wise. And it's like, he stood so close to him. He almost didn't allow his personality to be introduced to the audience.
I like the way Nigel disappeared.
got out of the
Conor
way.
was doing his own press conferences from like second fight in.
That's right.
And saying wrong things, doing, done the wrong things, admitted that, right? Didn't live the life early, but found his own path.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going to pressers and, he's doing an interview in Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank Senior's right there. And you're like, I'm scared to ask a question because Senior's going to jump in.
And Senior will stand, like, in Vegas, we interviewed him, right? So we interviewed Chris Eubank Senior first, and then Chris Junior joined us.
Yeah.
So afterwards, now we're talking, and there was a point where we were probably a bit too much like in our fanboy bag.
Yeah,
we were really gassed that Senior was there, and he was like, no, guys, you guys are journalists, like, give it to us. So I was like, cool. And KG just went to Junior. He goes, when are you gonna fight Callum Smith, bruv? And then Senior jumped in. Wait. I was like, let him respond.
Yeah.
Let his personality build. And Yard is going through a similar kind of thing.
With Tunde.
Because Tunde's personality is so polarizing. It's like...
But Yard started to lay the law down a bit on it.
Big time.
Started to lay the law
Big
down.
time.
Like in that little situation with
Pat Barrett.
Arthur and Pat Barrett. Yard's like, let me deal with this. Let me talk. Yeah.
But it's important because it's like people who don't like Tunde immediately just don't like Yard. And it's one of the things where Senior talked up Eubank. The guy's going to beat Triple G and Canelo and do all that kind of stuff.
He was going to be better than everyone.
Andre Ward. All of this stuff.
Why do that? I get it. It's your son. I get that emotion. But what are you doing?
It just sets up uncomfortable territory for him. So
it'll be interesting to see what Chris does. Again, Liam Williams next. February 5th, I think.
Yeah.
Motor Point Arena.
I think he beats Liam Williams.
Oh, yeah. Bro.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get through Liam Williams, I'm sorry. I mean, I like Liam Williams. Don't get me wrong, he's tough. But if you can't beat Liam Williams and you've been talking the talk, and then hopefully after Liam Williams, let's see. Because I was on air with him and Simon Jordan, for TalkSport's he'll stick it on you.
He got at him, yeah.
Got at him, like, when are you going to fight? Like, what are you doing? And I had to try and stick up for Chris, but I really, I was like fighting a losing battle. Because it's true, you've been calling out all these names. Every single year, Chris will give you a list of, I'm on GGG, Canelo, this and that, Charlo. Remember, he went to America. The idea was you're going to fight Charlo. Yeah, and what happened with that?
And I don't know that he got through Korobov because that injury was almost a godsend.
Yeah, that injury was almost a bit like Lara Warrington. That little headbutt clash.
Yeah.
Tell you now.
It looked very techie, man.
It looked very, very techie. So, I don't know what he does. I have no idea what AJ Usyk looks like. It's done for April. You're not on it.
I'm still reeling over my take for the first fight. I don't know if you remember the zone take.
What'd you say?
Bruv, I said I put my name on it. AJ's gonna beat Usyk. He's gonna knock him. Bruv. That aged horrendously. You know what? I look at that fight and I'm like, first of all, I'm uncomfortable because I don't know what AJ's doing at the moment. As regarding his training situation.
Like, the fight's supposed to be in April. Well, that's what they say anyway. It's probably going to be May, but April, May, whatever. So we're talking 4 months, 5 months away, and you don't even have a new trainer.
I don't know who this announcement is.
What are we doing? And he's now made it too big a thing. So whoever he announces, he could announce God. He could literally announce Jesus Christ is coming, and people will be like, nah, man, Jesus ain't right for you. You know what I mean? He's let it go for so long.
He gonna turn the other cheek, bro. You ain't need that.
Yeah, I'm telling you might need to go to that guy called Devil. You know what I mean? Flip it. So
that's mad.
It's got so crazy. Anyone he announces is going to come to some sort of criticism, whether it be Ronnie Shields, whether it be Robert Garcia, and I don't know what they can do in 3 months.
Same. It should have started by now. I just don't like I've tweeted this the other day. I was like, I don't really think he needs to be as visible with this process. There doesn't need to be a picture of every single trainer that you meet.
That's wrong.
Do you know what I mean? Him and Floyd in the gym, it's like, oh, it's this guy. And
that's not him posting this stuff, is it?
It's coming out somehow.
I think AJ could have told everyone no cameras. Like what Floyd does when he's in the doghouse. No, everyone around. Cameras off now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd like him to be a bit more vigilant with how stuff is coming out because there's times when I see just how he's coming across and I'm like, just run that through someone who does this part. Do you know what I mean? They're concerned about your image because some of the interviews and how he's coming across, I'm like, bro, you're spinning your audience different ways.
Brother, the Kugan Cassius one, the second one.
What about the Dubai, step aside money?
It was a car crash. And obviously, again, I'm a big AJ apologist, so I've got to try and defend it, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what he's doing. And when he started talking about the triangle thing, and I was like, stop now.
Yeah.
I was even Coogan should have watched it and thought, AJ, watch it back. You know what I mean?
Just take a look at this.
Have a look at that. What do you think? I can cut it out. It's not a problem, AJ. I can cut that minute out.
Straight.
Do you want to cut it out, AJ? Put it out. So I think even Coogan needs to have a look at it and think, nah, maybe this ain't gonna come out.
Yeah. Because it causes a lot of issues. Do you know what I mean? A lot of conversation. Unless AJ's a mastermind and he wants to appear this way. And that's me on my conspiracy thing, because I'm like, if you're calculated, you can be calculated and it come across like that. Or you can just be clumsy, and I think sometimes it comes across as that more.
Sometimes it comes across as trying to be too intelligent. Like sometimes, okay, sometimes you can say what you want. You're like Fury. And look, I guess this is why Fury's garnered so many new fans.
That's right.
Whether or not people like him for whatever, because sometimes, let's be, he does chat a little shit sometimes.
Yeah.
But he says whatever, you know. Whatever comes out of his mind is whatever comes out of his mouth is what's in his head.
Yep.
And I think people just have accepted it, and some people like that.
People love that, and that's why people love Dillian White as well. Because
100.
they know when these men speak, they're going to say, no, this
There's
guy's talking
filter.
rubbish.
There's no filter.
He said this, and it's like, it's just, you know that this is a genuine moment. Whereas AJ, there have been times where you go, why is he saying... He's only saying that because of this reason.
That's what you think.
And that's the annoying part. And I think AJ struggles with that. And it's funny because we've spoken about this on the pod. And where I stand now is that we've watched this guy come from the lifestyle he's come from into a corporate world of sports. And he's now someone who doesn't even look at himself as just a boxer anymore. So it's like trying to navigate that space, and you don't want to come across too hood, and you don't want to come across this. You want to always do that. Years of thinking like that makes you into the person that goes, oh, I don't know. It depends on, I'm going to give you this side. I'm going to give you that side. I'm going to give you that side. So that no one can be offended. And that can become you when you do that for too long. And I think that's where AJ is at the moment, where it's like, when he opens his mouth to speak, it feels genuine to him. But then it's like, he knows.
He's almost trying to appeal to too many people, isn't he?
There you go.
Like he's almost trying to, and look, bless him. He's trying to appeal to the kids. Like I'm a role model, and I think he's accepted that he's a role model.
Yeah.
But then he's still, like when I spoke to him and I said, "Oh, when you thought Dylan was a roadman fight," and he's like, "Yeah, that's Femi." So he knows he's still got that guy that's still there, that's haunting him, and then he's got the brand guy. I think didn't he delete everyone from Instagram, but only keep the brands?
Yes, right.
Bruh.
That let me feel like you don't see yourself as a person now. You see yourself as a brand, and it's a loud statement, but it's also not at the same time.
You know what he needs? You've seen Kickboxer, Van Damme, where he goes to Thailand and just disappears. Like, he needs a Kickboxer moment of just disappearing from everyone. Or a Rocky 3 moment where he goes to them gyms in Philly. You got hungry guys that, are fighting for...
They want what you have.
They want it. They want everything you've got. And maybe you've got to put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Sheffield, and look, this is his training base, so I get it. It was perfect. It had everything. And I was like, don't get me wrong, this is amazing. This is great, but... what does that machine do? Like, what? Give me a ring and a punching bag, please. What's that over there? Like, it had everything. And sometimes I feel like he needs to remove himself. And I think he's even come out and said he's leaving Sheffield. Like, no more Sheffield. So maybe we'll see where he goes.
The state of the art thing can make you too comfortable sometimes.
Too comfortable, bruv. Too comfortable. Where everything is built for you.
Yeah.
Like, this is AJ. Like, no, this is everything. That's AJ's water. Don't touch that.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
He likes that with the bottle turned left. You know what I mean? So I think he needs to just... But even if he does get everything right, I still don't know if it's enough to beat that man.
But you know what I've seen? Like, for me, I feel like there's a theme in AJ's losses, right? And it's like, obviously, there's only 2, so there's not too much to work on. But it seems like you can disarm him if you're nice to him. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, he needs to have a bit of needle with you to bring out himself. And that's
interesting.
Because you look at, if he fought Dillian White next, there is no jab match going on in there. He's going there. He's going to do the first fight again, roadman fight. If he fights Fury next,
so you know
it's going to be the same again. It's only with these guys that he might make a bit bigger in his own head. And now he's like, okay, let me do something else. His heart is not that. He's not in roadman
He's
mode.
not angry.
No, he needs to be angry. Like
all the smiling, I can't take it.
Big Baby Miller.
Yeah. You know,
he wants to rip his head off.
Yeah.
That will come out. Forget the game plan.
That's interesting.
But if you're nice to him...
it's there.
Yeah, it's of course it's there. It's not left. My thing is, if you're nice to him, you can disarm him. And he needs to be able to locate that issue and know that he needs to be the one that dictates the pace. Man can't come in there and go, you're right, mate. And that's the energy you're on? Nah, bro, if I'm on smoke, I don't care what you're on. That's what
it's true, because even at the weigh-in, you watch it, especially with the Ruiz one's a horrible one. I'm not even going to get into the first one. Bro. But the Usyk one, there's a stare down, then it's a smile.
And then selfies.
Bro.
Fam. And also, you got to look at this, the lead up when the juggling the medicine ball. My man's playing chess. They're doing all these little unnecessary things, but it's like at no point have you said, I'm coming to batter this you. And you know what I mean? That energy there, if you can't get that out of yourself, or if your trainers can't get that out of you, then them man have to go.
I feel like that's what it is, isn't it? For me, it needs a clean sweep.
Big time.
Look, Rob McCracken, congratulations. He's done a lot of AJ from an amateur to the pros, world champion, 2-time world champion. I get it, but that chapter needs to end now.
Big time.
Because I'm looking at this age, I don't like it.
I feel like it should have ended after the Ruiz.
And there's no problem in that. Look how quick. I mean, no disrespect. Fury won the first fight against Wilder. Ben Davison, you got to go.
That's right.
I don't like fighting that way. And everyone was
Unlike
like, what was he doing?
That's right.
Everyone was like, he's crazy. Ben, look what Ben done. Got him in shape. And no. That's not how I want to fight. We're going Kronk style.
Yeah.
Sugar Hill, are you available? Andy Lee, let's do this.
Let's go.
And all of a sudden, he won.
Mm-hmm.
And not only, look how he destroyed Wilder in the second fight round. To the point where Wilder fans were saying he cheated. Everything was cheated. Like, you cheated this, you cheated that, you done this. And that's because he just changed trainer. Again, and there was no... And Tyson Fury is a massive name himself, but there was no like, okay, we're going to go America and try this person out and we're going to go there. No. You're gone. I've signed you up. Let's go. Yeah. It was such a quick process. But this process of AJ now is too long.
The thing is, loyalty is one of those things where it's like, it can't become a hindrance. You can never allow loyalty.
Not in the boxing world. In life. Yeah.
Look at Lennox, right? When Lennox fought, I think it was Oliver McCall.
Was it Rackman or Oliver McCall?
Oliver McCall. And I believe Manny Stewart was in the corner for Oliver McCall for that fight. He had to sit down with Manny Stewart and say, how did you beat me?
Fact.
Them men now in camp together working on what happened and why. Now we're going to fill that hole.
Look at that.
That's a commitment to winning. And I think the commitment to winning can't be personal. You can't be in this thing like, okay, I want to win, but I need to make sure that you're involved. No, bro. At some point, it might have to change.
But what about the other argument that says, Usyk's just better?
There is that.
Yeah, like sometimes, as much as I feel like AJ could have put it on him, and I look at Usyk and I watch him closely now, and I'm like, this guy's good, you know.
But you know what it was, yeah?
This guy is good.
There is times in boxing where he's the better boxer, but he gets knocked out because the guy's a more powerful man.
And it just,
That's why in that fight, it's hard to just say
I even said
that.
I wanted AJ to come in bigger. I said this is not Carlos Takam 18 stone 4.
No.
But you know, like when AJ looks like
little 17-8.
17-8, 17-9.
Yeah.
Just look at him at the weigh-in and make the guy feel like, yo.
Let him know it's a mountain.
Yeah, I'm a mountain and you ain't stopping this mountain.
And we're not going points either.
No.
So to get that point
destruction
off your mind.
Yeah.
That's what...
What was that about as well? When he said, I could have won... next time I'll win 4 more rounds and then I've won.
You see, that stuff there just... That's when I think he's trying to be word perfect. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I forgive fighters of the past who said crazy things, but we knew what they were trying to say. Yeah. When David Haye and Mike Tyson would say some wild stuff, you think, whoa, that's going to age badly, but you know his intentions. AJ doesn't give you a clue.
What did Mike Tyson say about Razor Ruddock? Mike Tyson, Razor Ruddock dies. He said, if it doesn't die, it doesn't count.
It don't count.
If it's not dead, it doesn't count. And people are like,
listen,
you know,
it's crazy
because you're going to war with these guys.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not a ballet. You know what I mean? It's real stuff. So I think, but where I can't just let it land on what if Usyk's just better is that he's significantly smaller. So if he really imposes, he can knock him out regardless of the good boxing. Do you see what I mean?
But I also think that Usyk can knock AJ out.
I don't think so.
Bro, that round 12 was scaring the hell out of me.
Okay, here's
that round 12, yeah. I'm thinking, I'm ahead. I've watched it back so many times thinking, if there's another 30 seconds here, AJ gets knocked out.
Do you know why I didn't think he was going to get knocked out? I just felt like there's when you have your clock going in your head. I thought the round was just like, it's over now. I've lost the fight, bro. Like, just wrap it up. Because you look at that flurry that he throws at the end, there's not many shots landing there.
You know what it is? It's not necessarily through punch that I think, like the way Kovalev put Yard down.
Yeah.
I think that was half tiredness.
Oh, yeah,
like
of course.
I'm just exhausted. You've made me work so hard here that a jab put me down. And I almost feel like with Usyk,
I think
he makes you work for every, like, bro, that guy making you work, you know. And I'm thinking it's a combination of I'm tired plus I'm a bit hurt. And that's how I get knocked out. It's not like a clean, put me to sleep thing.
I think he can, you know, you're actually right. I have to go back on what I said. I think he can knock out AJ in this rematch if AJ comes for pure destruction for 6 rounds and he doesn't knock him out.
There's nothing there in the tank.
Then we know Usyk has the beating of him.
All right, a couple of quickly ones here now. Wilder. Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury, 80-20 WBC split. You think that fight happens?
I think it happens.
I actually think it does as well.
Yeah, I think Dillian Whyte accepts it regardless because he knows this is not an opportunity I can pass up on. But I don't think they're going to... I think the arbitration is going to go against Dillian Whyte. There's too much that's gone against Dillian Whyte from the WBC. Yeah. Them man know they're in murky waters. I think he just has to go in and just get the job done. Hopefully there's no rematch clause and he just gets it and goes.
What, you think he can beat Tyson Fury?
No, I'm talking about
just get the fight.
What Dillian would need to happen.
Okay.
No rematch clause. Go in there, win the fight, and you get to move on.
I don't give him a chance, you know. I mean, that's bullshit. Like, if it's 100, and 100, I give him a 100% chance, I'd probably give him a 15% chance. Maybe 10.
Really?
Yeah, it's that low. Yeah.
Do you know? Okay, I feel differently.
Go on.
Right?
I like the way you cross your arms as well, as you said.
I have to, because I'm defensive in this conversation. I feel differently because Tyson Fury doesn't fight the same way. And I don't think he's going to be able to revert back. And my theory is, I think his legs are affected.
Yeah.
Just lifestyle.
Yeah.
Boxing thing, you got to live the life. Do you know what I mean? He's not lived the life at any consistent rate. So your legs will go first. I believe he's still the fighting man that we saw, but he's going to come forward. And you come forward against Dillian White. It's not the same as Wilder. Wilder does have great power, but he doesn't have an arsenal, which allows him to set things up and mix it up.
Dillian White's got a fantastic hook.
Dillian can catch him.
Hook, yeah,
so my thing is, if you're going to run forward and your game plan is to rush Dillian White,
I don't think he will.
A lot can happen.
This is the thing. I don't think he will. I do think he respect. They've sparred, and supposedly Dillian White's had some good sparring sessions with him. But I think he'll just sit back. I think he'll do whatever he wants with Dillian White. I think he'll play with him.
You think?
Yeah, I just think. Yeah, honestly, I remember I was ringside for when Fury beat Chisora the second time and battered him, and I was actually in Chisora's camp watching Chisora spar. I remember I was there. I saw Daniel Dubois, Chisora spar. I was like, Chisora's in good shape.
Yeah.
Chisora going to do some damage. And Chisora reminds me so much of Dillian White, especially the younger Chisora. Just that there's, not the greatest boxing ability, but these guys will go to war with you if you want to go to war. Right. And the way in which just Fury just shut Chisora down, I remember thinking, where does that come from?
But Fury's legs.
Hey, but Thingy's had a lot of damage on him as well, you know. He's got a lot of miles on the clock, Dillian White, you know. He has,
but Fury's legs, I'm telling you, I believe that, and this is not just because, some people are going to watch this and be like, he just hates Fury. Bruv, you don't like him, you don't just come forward and consistently come forward. Like, I understand Wilder, that's the game plan, but I don't believe he has that outside game that he used to have. I don't think he can rely on his legs. He's put on a bunch of weight. Massive, we haven't even seen him go 12 at that weight.
Massive.
So when you start to get at 10, he's still a human. Carrying that weight.
What was he, 20 stone or something?
That's what I'm saying.
He probably walks around about 22, 22 stone. Like, before he gets in camp.
Yeah.
6'9", 22 stone. It's a lot of weight.
And
he's not exactly an athlete.
He's not an athlete. And my thing is, you can't defy logic for forever. Do you know what I mean? Your body is big. You haven't lived the life. You've had moments.
So what chances do you give Dillian White then? Because you're talking like you think this is some sort of 60-40 fight or something.
No. I'm more say 70-30, but to Fury winning the fight. I think if he can really deliver a certain performance, but I think there's a possibility that Dillian White can catch him. Do you know what I mean? I think it could be a clumsy one where he wins it by KO.
Imagine that.
It'd be a clumsy, because I think Dillian is clumsy even in his finest moments. His footwork and body composition. Yeah, the way he
swings when he kind of shuts that. Yeah.
So it'd be a clumsy one, but it'd be a case of if Fury comes to like mow him down like how he did Wilder, I think it's a bad strategy.
My one fear for Dillian as well, if it does happen, potentially they're talking about March, aren't they? As a date. When was the last time Dillian fought? Like Povetkin in Gibraltar. I don't even know when, bro. I don't even know when that was. I'll tell you now. You know how longer that was because. It was before fight camp.
That's right.
And fight camp was in June, July. So that means he hasn't fought since May or something longer than that, around April, May. It's been a long time since he fought.
Yeah.
Because that was Gibraltar and that was behind closed doors.
But I think Dillian White seems as if, like being out in Portugal now, his focus is different with boxing.
Yeah.
So I don't think...
He's continually in a camp.
That's right. Like even when we saw him at the AJ Usyk fight, we were trying to like organize an interview or something. He's like, bro, I don't live here.
How big is he, by the way?
He's massive, bro.
People are like, honestly, it makes me like these heavyweights are not normal sized people. Like, people are like Dylan's a small heavyweight. I'm telling you, he's not.
Bruv,
he's neck
massive. Yeah, he's just diesel.
Do you know
what I mean? And it's obviously you say he's small because you compare him to like a Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
Joe Joyce's head is like it's nuts.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Joe.
Yeah,
no one wants to fight him.
Yeah, because he's a tricky night's work. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know if he's going to be a world champ.
I need to see Joe Joyce versus Wilder. Because I want to know if Joe Joyce can take that kind of power. Because Joe Joyce looks like if he takes that, then all bets are off. No one's going to fight him.
Yeah. It's over, bro.
No one's fighting him because he's got the engine.
But you know what's mad? You beat Joe Joyce with body shots.
You think? Well, I think, nearly did.
Hunter?
No. Sorry.
Was it not,
no, it wasn't. No. Oh, what's his name now? Trevor Bryant? Was it Bryant? Who nearly beat it? Was
Michael Hunter?
No, it wasn't Michael Hunter.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't. I know exactly. I remember the fight card. It was on the undercard, I think, of Billy Joe Saunders' fight.
Right, okay.
When he fought in Stevenage Borough Football Club.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you can't... That was a... Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Trust me, the body is where... Them men are tough upstairs. Do you know what I mean?
People can take headshots, yeah.
God don't bless fighters with speed and slickness and power. It's one of those things. So I think body shots will be what gets him done. So I think that's the game plan is there. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know who's going to be the one to execute it, but I can't see him beating an AJ. I can't see him beat a Dillian.
Dillian's an interesting one. I can see him beating Dillian. I can't lie to you. I mean,
no, but if Dillian would outpoint him though, that's what would happen. Dillian would just because Dillian can go 12.
Yeah, Dillian can. People say that, but he can. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Dillian's got a gas tank to go 12, and he's looking fitter as well.
That's what I'm
he
saying.
Can definitely go 12. Who beats Canelo?
His ambitions. If he goes to cruiserweight, I reckon he gets through there. I reckon he gets through a lot of guys. You know, he'll be strategic and he'll miss certain man.
Yeah. He ain't fighting a Coley, for example.
Exactly.
He ain't fighting a Coley.
Do you know what I mean? So his ambition will get if he starts to get a bit like, what can't I do? That's when life will humble him. But nobody in his weight class.
That's crazy.
He'll go to light heavy and he can clear out.
Do you think history will be kind to him? He'll beat Makabu, and he'll become a 5-weight world champion. But then in my eyes, I'm a bit hardcore, so I'll be like, yeah, but he's beating the weakest champion, and he beat Kovalev, who was at the time the weakest 175-pound champion. Or do you think history will say no, 5-weight world champion?
They'll say 5-weight world champion, and it's like you look at Roy Jones Jr. going up to heavyweight and beating Ruiz.
It's true. No one talks about that.
Nobody.
Why does no one ever says anything? Everyone's saying you beat Ruiz, but yeah, but you beat Ruiz.
No one says you should have fought Tyson.
Yeah, or Lennox.
That fight was in the works.
Yeah. No one asked for that.
Yeah, I mean, so it will be 5-weight world champ, and also, you know, he's a great, brave Mexican champ. You know what I mean? The branding is perfect.
He's
Mexico
incredible,
loves him. He's amazing.
He is incredible.
Where he throws that left hook to the body.
I've never seen him out of shape either. Like I don't know if it's strategically he's got a social media planner who posts a photo where he's always, flat stomach.
Yeah.
But I can't think of it. And when you think of some of the guys over here, the Billy Joe Saunders of the guy, where you see a little gut and I've never seen Canelo out of shape.
And that's what I think is important. And it's you can't take it away when you start to look at, a fighter's journey. When I say about Fury's legs, your body has to hold up with how you live your life.
Yeah.
There's some fighters that just take care of themselves. Floyd was able to fight at that level for as long as he did because of how he spent his time.
You're right, because you look at UFC, look at someone like Conor McGregor, and he's done.
That's what I'm saying.
Connor's done, and no bloody why. Every IG post is fucking promoting and drinking whiskey.
There you go.
Living that life.
Yeah.
You're right. Bernard Hopkins always spoke about. Bernard would say, I'll be in bed by 9. He says a lot of these fighters have these things where they do they're already promoting their after party.
That's right.
For the fight. Before the fight's happened.
Yep.
It's like, I'm in bed by 9, I'm up at 5,
Yeah.
we get into that routine.
Yeah.
No wonder he fought until he's 50.
Absolutely. And that stuff, it counts for so much more than people think. So for me, a lot of people will just be like, oh, you just don't like Fury. But that comes from a place of living the life pays you back down that side of the career. Do you know what I mean? AJ's, lived the life to a good degree. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's a party boy or anything like that. You don't really hear much about it.
Not that I know.
So, yeah, it's one of the things you question mark. But more than not, I believe he's been disciplined and dedicated. So if that fight goes too long, it actually does tie into AJ's favor.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man.
Yeah, the only thing that I guess could favour Fury is that as much as Fury of 32, he hasn't had that many fights, Because of the little gaps he's had in boxing, the mileage ain't really there. Do you know what I mean? There's not been that many fights. And
That's
you spoke
real.
about 12 rounds. Doesn't go 12.
It's true.
He doesn't have those kind of hard fights, so you do wonder. But I'm with you about Canelo. Only Canelo's ambition stopped Canelo.
100%.
Like Beterbiev, 175.
I don't even think about guys who can beat Canelo anymore.
Beterbiev, no.
I looked at Beterbiev and I was like, I didn't feel like Canelo needs to be running from this. I didn't feel like that.
Wow.
Bivol, he will eat Bivol.
I think he'll eat Bivol as well. As much as Bivol's a clean, classic boxer, I think he'll get to him and eat him.
He'll walk him down and it'll look Kovalevish.
Jesus
Walking him down, eventually catching him. The guy is just made of different
How
stuff.
perfect is he where he boxes as well?
It's nuts.
I said this to someone ages ago when they were talking about Billy Joe Saunders. I was like, are you mad? They're like, Billy Joe Saunders can do this. I was like...
I'm gonna lie, I was on that side.
Was you?
Because I'd been saying it for a while.
You had to stick with it.
I couldn't, you know what I mean? I've a good few years ago, I was saying that Billy Joe could mix it with those guys, Canelo and Triple G.
And to be fair,
Because
he
that's
was
who
mixing it until that.
Thank you.
Until that injury, those rounds weren't like shutout rounds.
That's what I'm saying.
He was doing well until he got caught.
And 2 years ago, when he was, he's at the wrong weight at 168. He never looked good at 168. I remember him fighting some random dude. He'd get caught with a big shot, bang, on the ropes for a minute. I was like,
the Argentinian guy. I remember it was on the undercard of the YouTubers.
That was insane.
Yeah.
So when I saw that kind of stuff, I was like, the weight, it's not good for you. 160 is where you belong. If they met on 160, he's light on his feet. He's moving a bit better, and
he's not trying to get there. Yeah,
and he's also dedicated to boxing at that point as well.
He has to be
in a different way.
The extra 8 pounds, and he was more dedicated before.
That's right.
Yeah,
the Lemieux performance, for example, that Billy Joe, for me, I'm like, I look at that and I think, no, you give Canelo some issues, but wasn't to be.
Wasn't to be. And you look at what Canelo's done throughout his life. I just find it incredible now. Like the hit list is getting silly.
Canelo and Floyd, like this prime Canelo, right? It's hard to get into it because let's just say they're at the same weight.
Yeah. Well, wait, okay. What? 154.
The Floyd that fought Canelo and Canelo now.
I always will go with Floyd.
Same.
I always, because that guy, there'll be some times when I'm just bored and I'm just putting on my YouTube, and because you remember, again, you just spoke about someone living the life. Floyd will trick you to think that Floyd's spending money on Dom Perignon and doing, he's not doing any of that stuff.
Yep.
You know, 24/7s would say that Floyd's out jogging at 4 a.m. Just I want to jog at 4 a.m.
Yep.
That guy,
different.
Different. I saw Mosley crack him with a shot that would have put a house down, and his legs wobbling. I was like, It went to the corner. Adjusted, came out. Mosley didn't win a round again.
Bro,
he's incredible.
It's the second shot when you see Floyd jump and he's like his bottom touches his heels.
That's the one. Boom. And Oscar's smiling. Oscar's back smiling.
Yeah.
We got him. We got him.
Finally.
We got him. Yeah, finally. We've got him.
And he's like, nope. Bro, that man there is, no matter
his
what you bring
boxing IQ is a whole different level.
We credit like great fighters when they adjust. Lomachenko does great adjustments. But Floyd, second to none.
He's incredible, bruv. You have a look. And don't get me wrong, look, he's been in it. Maidana was a tough fight.
Yeah, the first one.
First one was a tough. And then again, okay, you thought that was tough?
Do it again. Let's run it back.
1 second. Let me do it again. I've had a look at him now.
Yeah.
And run it back. And I think those fighters that can adjust, like Andre Ward, Kovalev,
yeah,
those fighters that can adjust are the fighters. And I think, Canelo will show him some different things because Canelo's a great fighter.
Yeah.
But Floyd will just... I see you. Oh, that left hook to the body, then left uppercut.
Yeah.
You think you're getting me that?
Yeah.
1 second.
For
and
real.
he'll make that
I'm
adjustment.
taking that away from you.
That's mine.
Yeah.
So I would always side with a guy that's never been beaten.
Nah, I agree.
You know what I mean? I think Canelo...
See, the thing is, when you say side of a guy that's never been beaten, if I was having a conversation with Dion Juma today, actually, and he put up a post about Andre Ward and Kawasaki, and I was like, Andre Ward beats him in my estimation. Ooh. I look at that fight and I think, I see Andre Ward grinding through that one.
It would have to be one hell of a grind because I remember, and look, Jeff Lacey is not Andre Ward, don't get me wrong. But I remember the hype of when Jeff Lacey was coming over and everyone's like, oh my God, this American who's big, and they called him a mini Mike Tyson. Everyone's a mini Mike Tyson, right?
Exactly.
And the way in which he just took that man to school. Like Kawasaki's hand speed, the ins and outs, and he kind of got that slapping punch.
It's a slapping shot,
It's a weird slapping shot. I don't know, That's one fight that's always plagued me. Like, who would win that?
Such a defensive... Like he's like a bigger Floyd, where it's like the defensive adjustments, they are, you know what I mean, what they need to be. So, I don't know.
I look at, although Joe fought Bernard Hopkins towards the end, look what Bernard did when Bernard fought Kelly Pavlik after. And he schooled Kelly, and Joe beat him. It was close, but Joe beat that Bernard Hopkins. So, that's the fight that I can never pick a side. Andre Ward, Joe Kawasaki at 168. Tough.
It's tough when you look at Kawasaki's career, for example, because he does have some names that are slightly on the other side of the hill, and it's like it takes away or it leaves room for debate.
Yeah, Kessler's probably the big one in there.
Yeah,
I think that was prime Mikhail Kessler, and we saw Carl Froch go to Denmark and get beat by Kessler.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So I think that Kessler one's hold it up good, but you're right. Real. I mean,
you got the Eubanks one in there.
Got the Eubanks one, and
Steve Collins never happened.
Yeah, so it's not great. It's not great. Robin Reed.
Yeah,
I mean, them kind of man. It's not solid, but I think that Jeff Lacey one deserves respect. 100%. It won't get it because Jeff Lacey then done nothing and got spanked by Roy a few years later. But that Jeff Lacey one done respect. Just before we close, who excites you? What you got this year? Who are you thinking, like in terms of a fighter to watch this year that you think could do some business? I really want to see Shakur Stevenson do some damage at 135.
Yeah, that 135 division.
Yeah, he's at 130 now, and I feel like him going up to 135 and mixing it with the Devin Haney's, the Ryan Garcias, the Devontae. Again, that's like our light heavyweight division is like their lightweight division. Yeah, that's like the way and everyone's like, oh, they got to fight each other the way we go mad over here.
Yeah,
but over there, their fights are fucking humongous. If those kids get it on, as opposed to what some of ours would be.
Yeah, because I think they've been too eager to brand them the new Four King era.
Nonsense,
it's ridiculous. Like, I want to see these guys make statements. I want to see Tank do something significant against a proper established name. Josh Taylor is someone I cannot wait to see what his next move is.
Jack Catchell in it, Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
And then after that, what?
After that, do you know what I mean? That's when I'm excited. And I'll be honest with you, I want Josh Taylor and Crawford at some point.
It's weird how, like, that should be a fight everyone should be excited about.
I don't know how people ain't talking about it.
It's weird, isn't it? Undisputed guy at 140 taking on the unbeaten freeweight champion at 147, and I'm looking at Crawford right now. Now Spencer's fighting Ugas. I'm like, Crawford, who you gonna fight, bro?
Exactly.
You might have to fight Josh.
Listen, and I really rate Josh Taylor.
I really rate.
I love his energy. Like, you know, the man that don't mess around at the press conference. He knows the assignment. Don't ever think me and you are friends.
I love that. He knows.
He turns it on.
Yeah.
So I want to see him. Who else is there? I saw what's the guy's name? I think David Morrell.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've watched it. You know, when you come across someone, you start thinking, he's only had 5 fights. And I saw him fight. I was like, okay, I get why your career is moving the way it's moving. This is exciting.
I want to see there's a heavyweight called Jared Anderson that I'm really keen on seeing.
Big puncher.
If he could, big puncher. Almost built like the modern day heavyweight. It's not as big, but big nonetheless. I want to see what he can do in the division.
I want to see Jerome Ennis. Like, I love watching
everyone's
him
high on him.
He's amazing.
But you know, I'm holding back my thoughts with him just because I remember, like, growing up, I said Andre Berto was like God to me. I was like, oh my God, this Andre Berto guy is everything.
The Victor Ortiz fights, isn't
yes,
it?
And I was like, what's happened to him? Like, and then he fought Luis Collazo, and I was like, oh, okay, so as soon as you stepped up and fought Ortiz and Collazo, who were at the time B levels, then you weren't that good anymore. So I need to see Ennis fight a very, very good B level guy because he's destroying the D's and C's. I get that. And you're looking good, looking flash. Everyone's like, oh my God, let me see what you can do. It's like when Broner fought Maidana. I was like, what? What's going on here? You're not supposed to lose this fight.
Things he mismanaged the weight jumping business and it just made it messy.
He done everything wrong. Man was flushing $100 bills down toilets.
Conor Benn's career this year, I really want to see something happen there. Do you know what I mean? McKinson taking on Ortiz, that's a massive step up for him.
Crazy, right?
I don't know. I think I'd like to see him.
I'll be astounded if he won that fight.
If he pulls that off,
then
insane statement.
Bruh?
From Chris Congo.
Bruh, that is one hell of a jump.
That's crazy.
He fought a guy on Fight Camp called Renowski after the Chris Congo fight. And I didn't know who this Renowski was. And he made that look a bit easy. And I was like, okay. Like, you know, he doesn't punch, but I always feel like when you don't punch, you work on all the other stuff so much.
That's right.
So he is a very clever boxer, and he might cause Ortiz some problems, but he'll get stopped.
Yeah, that's
Ortiz is different. I mean, that's a jump, bro.
Yeah.
That's a jump. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
No, for real.
That's almost a case of, I don't know if it's mismanagement, because, for example, they wouldn't put Conor Benn in with Ortiz right now.
You know what it is? It's that same thing that happened with Craig Richards with Bivol.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you want it? Go on in. It's that.
That's what it is. Yeah. And if you're Mickinson, you know,
take it.
You take what?
Of course you take it.
You're naming lights in America. Big fight against the upcoming super kid.
That's right.
You take that. It's your highest payday. And if you lose well, you're there. If you get stopped and destroyed, then obviously there's a problem. But if you lose, you know, 116, 112,
exactly,
117, 111, you take that.
You say to Craig Richards, if you got it going another couple rounds earlier, you're the champ now.
No wonder Craig was begging for the Joe Smith fight. He's like, now I know what it is, that level. Give me that.
Yeah.
5 days, I don't care. Give me that.
I believe if he's in shape, he wins that fight.
I believe if he's in shape, he's caused problems to a lot of light heavies. I like Craig Richards. I think he's too relaxed for me in the ring. Like when he gets going,
he goes.
I like it when he goes, but sometimes it takes him a while.
I think that's just his personality coming out.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He has the most laid back.
So chilled.
It's so chilled, bro. And I'm like, not in the ring. Please, Craig, not in the ring. Trav, really appreciate you coming, man.
Bro, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you. Good luck to you as well in your comedy career.
Thank you, man.
This year. Any shows planned?
I've got some stuff in the pipeline that's like yet to be announced. Me, I'm not a pre-announcer.
Oh, until it's done.
Until it's done.
I'm like that in the gym. I see guys walking around with their vest. I'm like, an artist doesn't reveal until the art is done. So people are like, you always wear the hoodies, like, because I'm working on what's underneath.
Don't worry about what's underneath.
Don't worry what's underneath. I'm not about to show you the stages.
This is it.
You're just when the top's
You'll
off.
See me hench. I'll be hench.
And you'll be like, oh, Ade's juicing. No. I've been working. Trav, really appreciate you coming, bro. Thank you.
Respect, brother.
Cheers, bro.